In the vast emptiness of space far beyond the orbit of Earth's moon, a fleet of alien ships drifted silently. They were stranded, their energy reserves depleted after an interstellar storm had disrupted their journey home. These beings, known as the Valans, had no way to repair their vessels or communicate with anyone outside their species. Their sleek, silver ships floated like ghostly sentinels against the backdrop of stars, their once glowing engines now dim and lifeless. On Earth, astronomers first noticed something unusual in the night sky. Among them was Ji Huan, a young astrophysicist working at Seoul's National Space Research Institute. He had always been fascinated by the mysteries of the universe, spending countless nights staring through telescopes and analyzing data from distant galaxies. That evening, as he reviewed readings from one of the Institute's most advanced satellites, his eyes widened. Something massive was out there, something that didn't belong. Ji Huan quickly called Yun Jin, his colleague and closest friend, into the lab. Yun Jin specialized in extraterrestrial communications and had spent years studying signals from deep space. Together they examined the data. At first glance, it seemed like random noise, but upon closer inspection, patterns began to emerge. The objects weren't natural phenomena. They were artificial. Dozens of them, arranged in a precise formation. "This can't be debris," Ji Huan said, pointing at the screen. "Look at how evenly spaced they are. And their trajectories, they're stationary." Yun Jin nodded thoughtfully. "It has to be ships. But whose? And why are they just sitting there?" Word of the discovery spread rapidly within the Institute. By morning, news outlets around the world were reporting on the mysterious fleet hovering near Earth's orbit. Speculation ran wild. Some claimed it was evidence of an impending invasion, while others believed it was a sign of divine intervention. Governments scrambled to assess the situation, convening emergency meetings to decide what to do next. For Ji Huan, however, the question wasn't whether humanity should fear the strangers. It was whether humanity should reach out. He argued passionately for peaceful contact, believing this could be a historic opportunity. "We've dreamed of meeting intelligent life for centuries," he told his colleagues during a heated debate. "Now we have the chance to show the universe that we're not just destructive, we're capable of kindness." Yun Jin agreed, though she tempered her enthusiasm with caution. "We need to approach this carefully," she said. "If we send the wrong message, we could make things worse." Together, Ji Huan and Yun Jin devised a plan. Using mathematical patterns, a universal language, they decided to transmit a signal to the fleet. They chose the Fibonacci sequence, a series of numbers found throughout nature, hoping it would convey intelligence and goodwill. Late that night, they sent the signal into the void, unsure if it would even be received. Hours passed without a response. Ji Huan paced anxiously in the control room, glancing at the monitors every few seconds. Just as doubt began to creep in, something incredible happened. A faint reply came back, not words, but a complex geometric pattern projected across multiple frequencies. "It was unmistakably intentional. They're communicating!" Yun Jin exclaimed, her voice trembling with excitement. "They understand us." The team worked tirelessly to decode the pattern. After several hours, they realized it was a map, a representation of the solar system with Earth highlighted. The message was clear: "We see you." With this breakthrough, global leaders convened to discuss the next step. Should humanity respond further, or should they wait for the aliens to make the next move? Ji Huan insisted on taking the initiative. "If we don't act now," he said, "we might miss our chance to connect." Reluctantly, the decision was made to send a small spacecraft to establish direct contact. Ji Huan volunteered immediately, eager to witness history firsthand. Joining him were Yun Jin, who couldn't resist the opportunity to study alien technology up close, and two other crew members, Hyun Soo, a skilled pilot, and Da-un, an engineer with expertise in propulsion systems. As the shuttle launched into space, millions watched live broadcasts from around the globe. Hearts raced as the craft approached the largest ship in the fleet, its surface shimmering like liquid metal. When they were close enough, a beam of light extended from the alien vessel, pulling the shuttle gently inside. Inside the ship, the air was cool and tinged with a faint metallic scent. The walls pulsed softly as if alive. Ji Huan and his team stepped cautiously onto the floor, their helmets reflecting the eerie glow. Moments later, figures emerged from the shadows, tall, slender beings with luminous eyes and skin that shimmered like starlight. They moved gracefully, exuding an aura of calm authority. One of the aliens stepped forward, taller than the rest. Through a combination of gestures, sounds, and holographic projections, it introduced itself as Calith, leader of the Veilon fleet. With patience and determination, Jihuan managed to bridge the gap between human and Veilon languages, using simple phrases and visual aids. Bit by bit, communication became possible. Calith explained their plight. Their hyperdrive cores had failed during the storm, leaving them unable to return to their homeworld. They had been adrift for weeks, conserving what little power remained. Despite their predicament, they radiated gratitude for humanity's efforts to reach out. By the time the shuttle returned to Earth, Jihuan and his team carried more than just knowledge. They carried hope. For the first time in history, humanity had made contact with another intelligent species, proving that cooperation across the stars was possible. But the journey was only beginning. Back on Earth, preparations were already underway. Scientists, engineers, and diplomats mobilized to assist the stranded fleet. Jihuan knew the road ahead would be challenging, but he also knew it was worth it. This wasn't just about helping the Veilons. It was about showing the universe what humanity was truly capable of. The world held its breath as Jihuan and his team returned from their encounter with the Veilons. News of the meeting spread like wildfire, igniting both excitement and fear across the globe. Images of the shimmering alien ships filled television screens, social media feeds, and newspaper headlines. Humanity had made first contact, and now it was time to decide what came next. Jihuan stood in front of a packed auditorium at Seoul's National Space Research Institute, addressing reporters, scientists, and government officials. His voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed his exhaustion. "The Veilons are not here to harm us," he began. "They are stranded and they need our help." Yunjin sat beside him, nodding in agreement. She added, "Their technology is advanced, but their hyperdrive cores have failed. Without them, they cannot return to their homeworld. If we can find a way to repair or replace those cores, we can send them home." The room erupted into murmurs. Some people were skeptical, questioning whether humanity should risk helping an unknown species. Others saw this as a chance to prove that Earth could rise above its divisions and work together for something greater than itself. Jihuan listened patiently, knowing that convincing everyone wouldn't be easy. Outside the institute, protests began to form. Groups of people gathered in city squares holding signs that read "Protect Earth" and "No aliens." Their chants echoed through the streets, fueled by fearmongers who claimed the Veilons might have hidden motives. Conspiracy theories spread online, warning of potential invasions or secret experiments. Jihuan watched these developments with growing concern. He knew that fear could derail everything they were trying to achieve. To counteract the negativity, Jihuan agreed to appear on live broadcasts, speaking directly to the public. Sitting in a brightly lit studio, he looked into the camera and spoke plainly. "I understand why some of you are afraid," he said. "But think about what this means. For centuries, we've wondered if we're alone in the universe. Now we know we're not. The Veilons reached out to us because they trust us. How will we respond?" His words resonated with many. People started sharing stories of hope and unity, reminding each other of humanity's capacity for kindness. Social media campaigns emerged, urging governments to support the effort. Slowly but surely, public opinion began to shift. Meanwhile, Yunjin threw herself into understanding the Veilon's technology. Back at the institute, she worked day and night alongside Hyun-Soo and Da-Yoon, poring over data collected during their visit to the alien ship. The Veilons had shared schematics of their hyperdrive cores, intricate diagrams that seemed almost impossible to decipher. But Yunjin refused to give up. One evening, as she stared at the glowing screen of her computer, she noticed something unusual. The core relied on a rare element called zetherium, which didn't exist naturally on Earth. However, the energy signatures produced by the core bore a striking resemblance to those generated by humanity's fusion reactors. Her mind raced with possibilities. Could Earth's technology be adapted to mimic the effects of zetherium? Excited by her discovery, Yunjin called Jihuan into the lab. "Listen to this," she said, pointing at the screen. "If we modify our reactors just right, we might be able to create a substitute for their core material." Jihuan's face lit up. "That's brilliant. But how do we convince anyone to let us tamper with one of our most advanced reactors?" "It's risky. Yunjin sighed. I know, but if we don't try, we'll never know if it's possible. Together, they presented their findings to global leaders. After days of intense discussions, permission was granted to retrofit one of Earth's experimental fusion reactors. The task fell to Hyun-soo and Da-yoon, who would lead a team of engineers in modifying the reactor under Eun-jin's guidance. It was a daunting challenge, but failure wasn't an option. As preparations got underway, Kalith paid a visit to Earth. Accompanied by a small delegation of Veilans, he landed near the research facility where Ji-hwan and his team were based. His presence sent shockwaves through the scientific community and the general public. Crowds gathered outside the facility, eager to catch a glimpse of the alien leader. Kalith addressed the crowd through a translator device created by Yoon-jin. His voice, though filtered, carried a sense of calm authority. "We come in peace," he said. "Your efforts to help us have shown great courage and compassion. We are grateful." His words touched hearts around the world. Protesters lowered their signs, listening intently as Kalith spoke of his people's journey and their desire to coexist peacefully with humanity. Ji-hwan stood nearby, watching the transformation unfold. Fear gave way to curiosity, and suspicion turned into admiration. Inside the facility, Kalith met with Ji-hwan and his team to discuss the progress of the reactor modifications. He marveled at humanity's ingenuity, expressing confidence that their combined efforts would succeed. "You remind me of my own people," he told Ji-hwan. Determined, resourceful, and unafraid to dream big. Ji-hwan smiled, feeling a deep connection to the Veilan leader. Despite their differences, they shared a common goal: to push boundaries and explore the unknown. Over the following days, Kalith spent time learning about Earth's culture, history, and challenges. In return, he shared insights into Veilan society, describing their advanced medical technologies and sustainable practices. The collaboration extended beyond science and engineering. Artists, musicians, and writers joined the effort, creating works inspired by the Veilan's visit. Schools organized educational programs, teaching children about the importance of cooperation and empathy. For the first time in history, humanity felt united, not against a common enemy, but in pursuit of a shared vision. Back at the reactor site, tensions ran high. Hyun-soo struggled to stabilize the modifications while Da-yoon grew frustrated as errors piled up. Equipment malfunctioned, simulations failed, and deadlines loomed closer. Eun-jin tried to keep morale high, reminding everyone of the stakes. "This isn't just about fixing a machine," she said. "It's about proving that we can work together no matter how hard things get." Her words struck a chord. The team redoubled their efforts, determined to overcome every obstacle. Late one night, as they worked tirelessly in the lab, Da-eun noticed something crucial. By combining elements of Earth's fusion technology with the Veilan's quantum stabilizers, they could create a hybrid system capable of powering the hyperdrive cores. "It's worth a shot," she said, her voice tinged with cautious optimism. "Let's run the numbers again." Hours later, the calculations checked out. The solution was risky, but it was their best chance. With renewed energy, the team implemented the changes, testing the reactor repeatedly until it hummed with stable energy output. Success was within reach. Throughout this process, Ji-hwan acted as a bridge between humans and Veilans, ensuring clear communication and mutual understanding. He often found himself reflecting on the significance of their mission. This wasn't just about saving the stranded fleet. It was about building a foundation for future relationships between species. Every step forward brought humanity closer to realizing its potential as a force for good in the universe. By the end of the week, the modified reactor was ready. Ji-hwan, Yoon-jin, and their team gathered in the control room, watching anxiously as the final tests were conducted. When the results confirmed success, cheers erupted throughout the facility. Tears streamed down faces as hugs were exchanged. They had done it. They had created a way to power the Veilan's hyperdrive cores. Word of the breakthrough reached every corner of the planet. Celebrations broke out worldwide, unit Earth's inhabitants in joy and relief. For the first time, humanity truly felt connected, not only to each other but to the cosmos itself. As the sun set over the horizon, Ji-hwan stepped outside, gazing at the stars. Somewhere out there, among the countless galaxies, lay infinite possibilities. And thanks to the courage and determination of a few, humanity had taken its first step toward embracing them. The breakthrough with the modified reactor brought a wave of excitement, but it also marked the beginning of new challenges. The task ahead was far from simple, installing the hybrid system into the Valen's hyperdrive cores and ensuring it worked seamlessly. Ji-hwan, Yunjin, Hyunsu, and Da-eun knew they were stepping into uncharted territory. Every decision they made carried enormous weight, not just for the success of the mission, but for the future of relations between humanity and the Valons. Ji-hwan stood in the control room of the research facility, staring at the glowing reactor. Its hum filled the air, steady and reassuring. He turned to his team, his expression a mix of pride and determination. "We've come so far," he said. "But this is where it gets real. If we make a mistake now, everything we've worked for could fall apart." Yunjin nodded, her mind already racing through the technical details. She had spent countless hours studying the schematics provided by the Valons, comparing them to Earth's technology. While the reactor modification was complete, integrating it with the alien ships would require precision and trust. The Valons had agreed to allow humans aboard their vessels to assist with the installation, but the process would be delicate. One wrong move could damage both systems beyond repair. Hyunsu cracked his knuckles nervously. As the pilot who had flown the team to the Valon flagship during their first encounter, he understood the stakes better than most. "We'll need clear instructions from Calith's engineers," he said. "Their tech is nothing like ours. We can't afford any misunderstandings," Da-eun chimed in, her voice firm despite the tension, "and we'll need backup plans. Lots of them. If something goes wrong, we have to be ready to fix it fast." With these words, the team finalized their preparations. They loaded tools, equipment, and spare parts onto the shuttle that would take them back to the Valon fleet. This time, however, they weren't just observers, they were collaborators. Their mission was to bridge two vastly different technologies, proving that cooperation across species was possible. As the shuttle approached the largest ship in the fleet, Ji-hwan felt a surge of anticipation. The shimmering hull of the Valon vessel loomed before them, its surface alive with faint pulses of light. When they docked, a group of Valons greeted them warmly, their luminous eyes reflecting gratitude. Calith himself stepped forward, his tall frame exuding calm authority. "Welcome back," he said, his voice translated through the device Yunjin had developed. "Your efforts give us hope. Together we will succeed." Ji-hwan bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. "Thank you for trusting us," he replied. "We're honored to help." Inside the ship, the team was led to the engineering bay where rows of hyperdrive cores lay dormant. Each core was encased in a sleek metallic shell, pulsating faintly with residual energy. Hyunjin examined the nearest one closely, her fingers tracing the intricate patterns etched into its surface. "This is incredible," she murmured. "Their design is so advanced yet elegant." Calith explained that each core functioned as both an engine and a power source, capable of bending space-time to enable faster-than-light travel. Without Zetherium, however, the cores were useless. The hybrid reactor designed by humanity would serve as a temporary substitute, allowing the Valons to return home and replenish their supplies. Work began immediately. Teams of human engineers paired with Valon technicians, exchanging knowledge and ideas. At first, communication was slow and cumbersome, relying heavily on gestures, diagrams, and the translator device. But as the hours passed, a rhythm emerged. Humans learned to interpret the Valon's subtle movements and expressions, while the aliens adapted to human methods of problem-solving. Hyunsu found himself working alongside a Valon named Thalren, whose role seemed similar to his own. Though they couldn't speak directly, they communicated through shared actions, pointing at screens, adjusting settings, and nodding in agreement. By the end of the day, Hyunsu felt a surprising sense of camaraderie with his alien counterpart. Despite their differences, they shared a common goal and a mutual respect for each other's skills. Da-eun faced her own set of challenges. The hybrid reactor needed to interface with the Valon's quantum stabilizers, a component unlike anything she had ever seen. At times, frustration bubbled to the surface as errors occurred or connections failed. But whenever she hit a wall, a Valon technician named Sil-Ara offered guidance, patiently demonstrating how certain mechanisms worked. Through trial and error, Da-eun gradually pieced together the puzzle, her confidence growing with each small victory. Meanwhile, Ji-hwan acted as a liaison between the teams, ensuring smooth collaboration and addressing any issues that arose. He often found himself marveling at the ingenuity of the Vaylans' technology. Their ships were not just machines, they were living ecosystems powered by symbiotic processes that mimicked nature itself. It was a stark contrast to humanity's more mechanical approach, and Ji-hwan couldn't help but wonder what lessons Earth could learn from them. Despite the progress, tensions occasionally flared. Some members of the human team grew frustrated with the slow pace of work, while others worried about the risks involved. A minor malfunction nearly caused a cascade failure in one of the cores, forcing everyone to pause and reassess their strategy. During these moments, Kylith remained a calming presence, reminding everyone of the importance of patience and perseverance. "You have already achieved what many thought impossible," he told Ji-hwan one evening. "Do not let doubt cloud your vision. Trust in yourselves, and in us." His words resonated deeply with Ji-hwan, who reminded his team to focus on the bigger picture. "We're not just fixing engines here," he said. "We're building a bridge between worlds. That's worth every challenge we face." Back on Earth, public interest in the mission continued to grow. Updates were broadcast globally, showcasing the collaboration between humans and Vaylans. People watched in awe as footage showed engineers working side by side, their shared determination transcending language barriers. Schools incorporated the event into their curriculums, teaching students about teamwork, innovation, and empathy. Artists created murals depicting the partnership, while musicians composed songs celebrating unity and hope. Even those who had initially opposed helping the Vaylans began to change their tune. Seeing the tangible results of the effort, progress being made, friendships forming, softened hearts and opened minds. Protesters who had once chanted against the aliens now joined rallies supporting the mission, holding signs that read, "Together we can do anything." As days turned into weeks, the installation process neared completion. The final step was to test the modified cores under controlled conditions, simulating the stresses of hyperspace travel. Everyone gathered in the command center of the Veylan flagship, watching anxiously as data streamed across monitors. The atmosphere was electric, charged with equal parts hope and apprehension. When the test began, the room fell silent. For several tense minutes, all eyes were glued to the screens. Then a soft hum filled the air, the sound of the cores powering up. Lights flickered across the panels, signaling success. Cheers erupted throughout the ship, echoing through its corridors. Tears flowed freely as humans and Vaylans embraced, their bond stronger than ever. Kylith addressed the crowd, his voice filled with emotion. "You have given us more than a way home," he said. "You have shown us the strength of unity. We will never forget this act of kindness." Ji-hwan stepped forward, overwhelmed by the moment. "This is just the beginning," he said. "Our journey doesn't end here. It's only the first step toward a brighter future, for both our peoples." As the celebration continued, Ji-hwan allowed himself a moment of quiet reflection. Looking around at the faces of his team, the Vaylans, and the countless individuals watching from Earth, he felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Against all odds, humanity had risen to the occasion, proving that compassion and cooperation could overcome even the greatest challenges. But deep down, he knew there was still much to do. The Vaylans would soon depart, carrying with them the promise of future collaboration. And when they returned, humanity would be ready to explore, to learn, and to dream alongside them. For now, though, Ji-hwan simply smiled. They had done it. Together, they had changed the course of history. The success of the hybrid reactor test brought a wave of relief, but it also marked the start of new challenges. The Veylan fleet was ready to leave, but tensions on Earth were rising. Not everyone shared Ji-hwan's optimism about helping the aliens. Some people saw the mission as reckless, while others feared that humanity was giving away too much without asking for anything in return. Ji-hwan and his team found themselves caught between the joy of their achievement and the growing unrest back home. Anti-alien protests erupted in cities across the globe. Groups of people gathered in public squares holding signs with slogans like "Earth First" and "Don't Trust Strangers." Their voices carried anger and fear, fueled by conspiracy theories spreading online. Social media platforms buzzed with rumors. Some claimed the Vaylans were secretly planning to invade Earth, while others accused Ji-hwan and his team of betraying humanity by sharing advanced technology. The backlash made headlines, overshadowing the positive progress being made. Ji-hwan watched these developments from the Valen flagship, where he had spent most of his time overseeing the final stages of the project. He felt torn. On one hand, he understood why some people were afraid. On the other, he couldn't ignore the incredible opportunity before them. Fear is natural, he told Yunjin during a quiet moment in the ship's observation deck. But we can't let it stop us from doing what's right. Yunjin nodded thoughtfully. She had been monitoring news reports, her heart heavy with the division she saw. People are scared because they don't understand, she said. They see the Valens as strangers, not as beings who need our help. We have to show them the truth. With this goal in mind, Ji-hwan decided to take action. He began appearing on live broadcasts, addressing millions of viewers directly. Sitting in front of cameras aboard the Valan ship, he spoke plainly and sincerely. I know many of you are worried, he said. I've seen the protests and I've heard your concerns. But let me tell you what I've learned. The Valens aren't here to harm us. They're stranded, just like anyone else would be if their car broke down in an unfamiliar place. All they want is to go home. His words struck a chord with some viewers, especially when footage of human and Valan engineers working together was shown. Clips highlighted moments of collaboration. Hyun-soo and Thalrin troubleshooting a technical issue side by side. Daeun and Silara laughing after solving a particularly tricky problem, and Yunjin explaining concepts to Kylith using gestures and diagrams. These images painted a picture of unity, countering the narrative of suspicion spread by critics. Despite Ji-hwan's efforts, opposition remained strong. Politicians debated fiercely over whether the mission should continue, with some arguing that resources should be redirected to address Earth's own problems. Others demanded guarantees from the Valens, insisting they share more of their technology in exchange for humanity's help. Kylith listened patiently to these requests during a diplomatic meeting held aboard the flagship. We came seeking assistance, not to impose upon you, Kylith explained through the translator device. Your generosity has already given us more than we could ask for. However, if there is knowledge we can share that benefits your world, we will do so willingly. His response earned respect from many, though skeptics remained unconvinced. To ease tensions, Kylith offered something unexpected. A fragment of Valan technology, small enough to transport but powerful enough to revolutionize fields like medicine and energy production. This gesture silenced some critics, but it also sparked debates about how the gift should be used. Governments argued over who would control it, while scientists clamored for access to study its secrets. Amidst the chaos, Ji-hwan and his team focused on completing their work. The final step was to ensure the modified reactors could sustain the Valan's journey home. Each core had to undergo rigorous testing to confirm its stability under real-world conditions. The process was painstaking, requiring constant adjustments and recalibrations. Mistakes were costly, not only in terms of time but also trust. One evening, disaster nearly struck. A minor miscalculation caused one of the cores to overload, triggering alarms throughout the ship. Engineers scrambled to contain the situation, their faces pale with worry. For several tense minutes, it seemed like all their hard work might unravel. Hyun-soo worked alongside Thalrin to isolate the affected core, while Da-eun and Silara rerouted power to prevent further damage. Yunjin coordinated the effort, her voice calm but firm as she guided the team through each step. When the crisis was finally averted, exhaustion settled over everyone. Ji-hwan thanked the team for their quick thinking, knowing that even the smallest error could have jeopardized everything. We can't afford mistakes like this, he said. Not now when we're so close. The incident served as a wake-up call. From that point on, every decision was double-checked. Every calculation reviewed multiple times. Progress slowed, but the extra caution paid off. By the end of the week, all the cores were functioning perfectly, ready to power the fleet's return journey. As preparations for departure continued, personal connections deepened between humans and Valans. Ji-hwan spent hours talking with Kylith, learning about Valan culture, history, and philosophy. He discovered that their society valued harmony above all else, striving to live in balance with the universe. In turn, he shared stories of humanity's struggles and triumphs, highlighting both its flaws and its potential for greatness. Yunjin formed a close bond with Silara, whose curiosity about Earth mirrored her own fascination with Valan technology. Together, they exchanged ideas, discussing ways to combine their respective fields of expertise. Hyun-soo and Thalrin bonded over their love of flight, comparing notes on piloting techniques and spacecraft design. Even Daun, initially reserved and focused solely on her work, found herself opening up to the Veilans, appreciating their kindness and dedication. These relationships became a source of strength for the team, reminding them why their mission mattered. It wasn't just about fixing engines, it was about building bridges. Every interaction reinforced the idea that cooperation could overcome even the deepest divides. Back on Earth, public opinion began to shift once again. Stories of friendship and mutual respect resonated with people, inspiring hope and curiosity. Artists created murals depicting humans and Veilans working together, while writers penned essays celebrating the power of empathy. Schools organized events where students sent messages of goodwill to the Veilans, filling notebooks with drawings and letters expressing gratitude and admiration. Even some former protesters changed their stance, moved by the sincerity of the Veilans' gratitude. One man who had led anti-alien demonstrations publicly apologized after meeting with Ji-hwan and hearing first-hand accounts of the mission. "I was wrong," he admitted during a televised interview. "These beings aren't our enemies. They're just like us, trying to find their way home." As the final days approached, emotions ran high. The team knew the Veilans' departure would mark the end of an era, but also the beginning of something new. Humanity had proven it could rise above fear and division, choosing instead to act with courage and compassion. The experience had transformed everyone involved, leaving an indelible mark on their lives. On the eve of the Veilans' departure, Ji-hwan stood in the observation deck, gazing at Earth through the ship's transparent walls. The planet looked serene from this distance, its blue oceans and swirling clouds a reminder of its beauty and fragility. Beside him, Kylith joined silently, his luminous eyes reflecting the same awe. "You have shown us great kindness," Kylith said softly. "When we return, we will honor your generosity by continuing this partnership. Together we will explore the stars." Ji-hwan smiled, feeling a surge of pride and hope. "That's all I ever wanted, for us to look beyond ourselves and see what's possible. Thank you for trusting us." In that moment, surrounded by the vastness of space, Ji-hwan realized how far they had come. Humanity had reached out to another species, proving that kindness and determination could bridge even the widest gaps. As the countdown to departure began, he felt ready, not just to say goodbye, but to embrace the future. Tomorrow, the Veilans would leave, carrying with them the promise of friendship and collaboration. And when they returned, humanity would be waiting, to learn, to grow, and to dream alongside them. The day of the Veilans' departure arrived, and emotions ran high among everyone involved. For Ji-hwan and his team, it was a bittersweet moment. They had worked tirelessly to help the stranded fleet, forming bonds that transcended language and species. But now, as the countdown to launch began, they knew it was time to say goodbye. The weight of the occasion hung heavy in the air, mixing excitement with a tinge of sadness. Inside the flagship's command center, activity buzzed around them. Engineers performed final checks on the hybrid reactors, ensuring they were stable enough for the journey ahead. Screens displayed streams of data, confirming that all systems were functioning perfectly. Hyunsu stood near the main console, communicating with Thalran about flight trajectories and safety protocols. Daeun double-checked connections between the reactors and the quantum stabilizers, her focus unwavering despite the emotional atmosphere. Yoonjin coordinated with Silara, reviewing last-minute adjustments and preparing contingency plans in case anything went wrong during the trip. Ji-hwan watched it all unfold, feeling both pride and apprehension. He knew the technology they had built together was groundbreaking, but space travel always carried risks. "Are you sure everything is ready?" he asked Kylith, who stood beside him, calm and composed as ever. Kylith nodded, his luminous eyes reflecting confidence. "Your work has given us more than we could have hoped for," he replied. "We are prepared, and if challenges arise, we will face them together, just as we have done here." His words reassured Ji-hwan, though he couldn't shake the feeling that this marked the end of something extraordinary. Over the past weeks, humanity and the Veilans had created a partnership unlike anything Earth had ever experienced. It wasn't just about repairing ships or sharing knowledge, it was about trust, understanding, and mutual respect. Saying goodbye meant stepping away from that shared purpose, at least for now. As the final hours ticked by, preparations shifted to ceremonial tasks. Leaders from Earth gathered aboard the flagship to bid farewell formally. Representatives from governments, scientific organizations, and cultural groups delivered speeches expressing gratitude and hope for future collaboration. One speaker, a young girl chosen to represent humanity's next generation, read a heartfelt letter written by students around the world. Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke, but her message was clear. Thank you for showing us that we are not alone. We look forward to learning from you and exploring the universe together. Kyleth listened intently, his expression softening as the girl finished. Through the translator device, he responded, Your courage and compassion have changed us. When we return, we will bring gifts not just of technology but of friendship. You have reminded us what it means to be part of something greater than ourselves. The ceremony concluded with a symbolic exchange of tokens. Humanity presented the Valens with a small globe encased in glass, representing Earth and its diversity. In return, the Valens gifted a fragment of their advanced technology, wrapped in shimmering fabric that seemed to glow faintly. It was a symbol of their promise to continue the partnership when they returned home. Outside the ship, millions of people tuned in to watch the historic event. Crowds gathered in public squares, parks, and rooftops, gazing skyward as cameras broadcast live footage of the fleet preparing to leave. Social media platforms overflowed with messages of support and admiration. Some viewers shed tears, moved by the significance of the moment. Others cheered loudly, celebrating humanity's achievement and the hope it represented. Back inside the flagship, Ji-Hwan took one last walk through the engineering bay. Rows of hyperdrive cores hummed softly, their surfaces glowing with steady energy. He paused to touch one gently, marveling at how far they had come since the project began. What started as an impossible challenge had become a testament to human ingenuity and cooperation. Nearby, Yunjin joined him, her face lighting up with a mixture of pride and nostalgia. We did it, she said quietly, her voice thick with emotion. All those late nights, all those doubts, they were worth it. Ji-Hwan nodded, smiling. More than worth it. Think about what this means for us, for them, for the future. Yunjin glanced at him, her eyes shining. Do you think they'll really come back? I know they will, Ji-Hwan replied without hesitation. Kyleth promised, and I believe him. Their conversation was interrupted by an announcement over the ship's intercom system. The countdown to launch had begun. With only 30 minutes remaining, the team gathered in the observation deck to witness the departure. From there, they had a clear view of Earth below, its blue-green surface glimmering against the blackness of space. As the minutes passed, the room grew quieter, anticipation filling the silence. When the countdown reached 0, the Valen fleet powered up. The ship's engines roared to life, bathing the area in bright, pulsating light. Slowly, gracefully, the vessels ascended, leaving the flagship behind as they formed a precise formation. Then, with a burst of energy, they shot forward, disappearing into the depths of space. For a long moment, no one spoke. Everyone stared at the empty void where the fleet had been, processing the enormity of what had just happened. Humanity had sent alien visitors safely on their way, proving that kindness and collaboration could overcome even the greatest obstacles. It was a milestone, a turning point in Earth's history. Finally, Ji-Hwan broke the silence. Turning to his team, he said, This isn't the end. It's just the beginning. We've shown the universe what we're capable of. Now it's up to us to keep moving forward. His words resonated deeply. Hyun-Soo nodded, determination etched across his face. Da-Yoon smiled softly, clutching a notebook filled with notes and sketches from her time aboard the ship. Yunjin looked out at the stars, her mind already racing with ideas for future projects inspired by Valon technology. As they disembarked from the flagship and returned to Earth, the reality of their accomplishment settled in. News outlets hailed the mission as a triumph, praising Ji-Hwan and his team for their bravery and innovation. Around the globe, celebrations erupted, with fireworks lighting up the night sky in honor of humanity's achievement. Children dreamed of becoming astronauts or scientists, inspired by the story of humans helping aliens find their way home. But amid the festivities, Ji-Hwan remained reflective. He knew the road ahead wouldn't always be easy. Helping the Valens had united humanity temporarily, but old divisions still lingered beneath the surface. Fear and mistrust wouldn't disappear overnight. Yet he believed the seeds of change had been planted. By reaching out to another species, humanity had taken its first step toward becoming something better, something greater. That evening, Ji-Hwan climbed to the roof of the research facility, gazing at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Valen fleet sailed through the cosmos carrying the hopes and dreams of two civilizations. He thought about Kaleth and the bond they had formed, wondering what adventures awaited the Valens on their journey home. More importantly, he wondered what lay ahead for humanity now that it had stepped onto the stage of the universe. A cool breeze swept past, carrying whispers of possibility. Ji-Hwan smiled, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. Whatever challenges came next, he knew humanity would face them together, with courage, curiosity, and an unshakable belief in the power of connection. And so, under the vast expanse of the night sky, Ji-Hwan allowed himself to dream.